Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about team training and how to approach it as a new team. I hope you guys do enjoy. When you're coming onto a new map as a new team, especially if you're, mainly if you're an in-game leader, you need to do a few things. So I'd recommend coming onto a server by yourself and just kind of getting a feel for the map, making sure you know what's needed, making sure you know the angles, making sure you know what's important on a map. Like, say for example, it's cache, taking mid's quite important. So just things like general things like that. But the first thing you want to be doing is you want to set up a default for your team. And what I mean by default is you want to just set up your very first strat, and that is literally the default. So when you call default, it's where your 5 players on the map are going to go. So a good default for cache is one guy watching B, one guy in useless, one guy kind of just watching mid, the guy in useless is kind of just helping B or mid depending if they rush, one guy kind of poking A main for info, make sure they don't push, and then another guy holding the squeaky push. So you've got kind of every angle that CTs can be, you're kind of holding off every angle that they can be. You also need to explain to the player what their role is, but I'll be going into further detail on that later on in the video. A good thing that you can do as an in-game leader is you need to start creating some basic strats. Keep them very, very simple, so they're not overcomplicated. So just do something like, if you're going to do an A-take, just simply smoke off the cross, and then get another teammate to smoke off there. So you've got there's a smoke exec. You've got their setup took about 3 seconds to make, and you've got a smoke exec. That's just a simple smoke strat. You can obviously mix them in with molly in quad and MVK if you wanted to, but when you're a new team, you kind of want to be doing everything as simple as you can possibly do it. So I'd recommend kind of just getting like maybe one A take, one B take, one mid take, and then kind of getting like pistol strats. Maybe do one pistol strat for each site, and then come on with your team whenever everyone's free. You've got all 5 players on, and kind of just do a run through of the strat. Just make sure everyone does it. Do maybe half an hour of dry runs, maybe 10 minutes on each one. 10 minutes doing the A take. Make sure you've got the timings down. Make sure you've got the smokes down. Making sure you've got flashes if you're doing them. Make sure you've got the molotovs down. Just kind of making sure you've got the strats perfected for when you go into the scrim to play them. What I would recommend doing if you are the in-game leader is open up a Word document or a Google Docs. There'll be a screenshot on the screen right now. So basically what I've done here is, as you can see, there's the default setup right there. So you kind of just want to write down each player where they're going to be holding with what gun on a full buy round, ideally on a full buy round, or what positions they're going to be holding and what they're going to be doing. Like, is this to hold aggression? Is this to get information? Is this to kind of poke and get an entry kill? You kind of need to explain to your players what the whole point of this is to be. So when it comes to strat creation, the first thing I'll talk about is setting up your default for players. So let's just say, for example, you use the default of 1 B, 1 useless, 1 garage, 1 A main, and 1 squeaky. I use the B guy as the example. Do you want this player to play passive, sit far back and just make sure they don't push you? Do you want him to kind of push a little bit more aggressive, kind of listen for mollies and smokes, that kind of thing? Listen for what utility they use? Or do you want him to, peek aggressively, try and get an entry kill somewhere? That's just completely down to personal preference. What I like them to do is I do a mix of aggression, passive, and also information. So like, for an example of each one, if we win the first round, let's just say we win the first 3 rounds, we win the 4th round, which is the first gun round, and then we get into the 5th round situation. They're normally gonna force buy off eco. They're probably gonna get pistol armor or just an upgraded pistol. So on that round, I'll make my B player, my A player, my squeaky player, and then obviously me and my teammate in mid to play a bit more passive, just in case they rush. But if it's on a full buy, I'll either get my B player to sit here, listen for nades, or I'll get him to come towards here. Just kind of peek out and see what information he can get. That's what you kind of need to do with default. You just need to make sure that every single player in that default knows what their role is and they know what they need to be doing, whether that be peeking, passive, or listening for information. Another thing, quickly, well not quickly, the next thing is actually creating a strat. What you want to be doing is you want to create strategies that are kind of user friendly. You want to be making simple strats. So maybe if you do an 8-8, just do 2 smokes. Just do your first smoke, that will smoke cross. Your first smoke, that will smoke back of red. So that's just 2 smokes, and then just couple it up with 2 flashbangs, and then you're gone. So that's a very basic, simple strat. It's a very simple 8-8. When you're a new team and you're starting out, for the first, say, month-ish, until you've kind of established yourself in the team and you've kind of, everyone's starting to fall into the roles, everyone's starting to fall into training, that kind of thing. Just keep them as simple as you can. You don't want to overcomplicate things, because if you're on kind of a limited time span, so you haven't got every day, all day to train, you kind of need to get as much done as you can. So the easiest way to do that is just by doing simple strats. Instead of overcomplicating them, just keep them simple, don't confuse your teammates, and then after a while, once you've kind of settled into it, start adding Molotovs, start adding more flashbangs, more smokes, different smokes, mix up the smokes, that kind of thing. Just do a simple A, simple B, and a simple mid-take. Just keep it like that. Practice, dry run them, get them absolutely perfect, then scrim them, watch your demo, see what went wrong, change what went wrong, change your positioning around a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much kind of when it comes to strats. When it does come to strat creation, obviously you need to be looking at vital points. So, vital point there, vital point there. What I mean by vital points are positions where you can be shot from, pretty much. So, smoke cross, that stops the car player. Smoke back red, that stops the highway player. Then what's left? You've got quad, MBK, psych, forklift, and heaven. So, easy way to sort out all of them. You can throw that Molotov, which smokes off forklift. You can molly off quad, and you can molly off MBK. What that does is it limits the positions. They can only be up there, there, or in this area here. That's all they can be. Or they just can give up the site completely, or challenge from this small area here. So that's pretty much what I kind of mean by strat creation and making defaults when it comes to training. Now I'm going to talk about the actual training side of it. What you kind of need to get into your head is you're not professionals. You're not semi-professionals, you're not amateurs. Well, you might be amateurs, I don't really know, obviously, your team status. But you need to kind of be understanding about other people's times and what they're allowed to play and how, timings, like if they've got work during the day, that kind of thing. So, most importantly, you want to talk to your team. Talk to them, and then with the 5 of you, when you're all on, sort out days where you can all be on at the same time. So so you can do your team pracs, you can do your scrimming, you can do all that good stuff. But it's just mainly, like I say, it's just communication. You've got to make sure everyone on the team is on the same wavelength as you. You want to make sure that you've got 5 committed people, obviously not including you, 5 committed players. Obviously, if you want to be entering tournaments, go into lands, that kind of general thing. If, say for example, let's just use this scenario. You've talked to your team, they can only afford to use 3 days a week. Let's say 3 days a week, that's the only days you can be all on at the same time. For the first, say probably week, maybe 2 at the most, you want to be spending 2 out of them 3 days purely training. Just spend an hour and a half, 2 hours just doing dry runs of your strats, thinking of strats, creating strats, that kind of thing. Make them as a 5, make sure everyone's okay with it, make sure everything's okay with your calling style, everything like that. That's kind of your time to iron out all the bugs and mistakes that might have been made during the game kind of thing. And then on the third day, that's when you do your scrims. And then once you've kind of accumulated enough scrims, so say if you played 4 games on cash, at that point then you can start analysing demos. And once you start analysing demos, you can kind of spend one of them days analysing your demos and then correcting your strats for what went wrong. That's kind of what you can use them days for. So like, as an example, we team prac 6 days a week and we scrim 3 days a week. So we purely train on a Monday, a Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh wait, no, sorry, I've mixed up my days. We train on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. The days we train, and then we scrim every other day, apart from Sunday. We do light training on Sunday, and we have the rest of the day off and night off. So that's kind of how we do it. So kind of make a training system with, with times that you can all get on, but just make sure it's not so strict. Make sure it's, you're not to the point of where if somebody doesn't turn up for team practice for whatever reason, that you don't go off on them. You don't go on Mardy with them. You don't start flaming at them. So that'll just drop morale. That'll just make you sound like too strict. Because you can't expect that level of kind of commitment at an amateur level, really. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more content coming soon to my channel.